Hello and welcome to Bendy, a podcast about being flexible and all the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young and I'm one of your ruminative, musing hosts. Joining me as always is our other ruminative and musing host, Beth Martin. Beth, the pleasure as always. What's the crack? Ruminative? I'm pretty sure they said it right. And you can shove it up your asses if you don't like it, alright? Go and, pronounce your own words. Jerks.
You look it up in your own thesaurus.
Yeah.
Thesaurus.
Yeah. You do it in your podcast, alright? Assholes. Yeah. Sorry, that's
Nicely done. So, let's talk about science.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Uh-oh.
So we had, the kids had a science fair. Do you guys have science fairs?
Uh-huh. Not the same way Americans have.
Okay. So basically you get like a big poster board. It's like, that's what I remember about school. I was always doing like a poster board project. Always. Or like a group poster board project which was like horrible because no one would ever. It was always like I was the one that would get the project done kind of thing. And then I learned a lot about group projects and like, oh, okay, I'll just have to do this myself kind of mentality. Yeah. Which is not what you're supposed to, learn. Basically you pick a topic and you do a little speech and you present the topic to, a group of like judges or whatever. And then everybody walks around and you check out everybody else's science. So the kids, I was like, there was no grade. It was all like put together by the PTA. So Charlie did hippos versus pygmy hippos. Like their behaviors. And we happened to have pygmy hippos and regular hippos, river hippos at the San Diego Zoo. So we like went and did like science observation and he had his little binoculars and his little pencil and he was writing down like the time and their behaviors and what they were doing and they were eating and napping. And like, I don't know. I mean, we've talked about Mudang, obviously, but like seeing a Mudang pygmy hippo in real life is literally like one of the best things ever. So I highly recommend it if you have one around in any of your local zoos.
Are they they're a distinctly different species then? Or are they not?
Are cousins.
Okay. Interesting.
Here's some pygmy hippo facts for you. They weren't discovered until the 1800s because they're primarily like, they're not nocturnal, but they come out mostly like in the evening or like in the like late evening when it's like dark, and they're a darker color, and they spend most of they can like run underwater really fast, so they spend most of their time underwater, and which is why like they weren't discovered until like 200 years ago, which is kind of crazy.
That rocks.
I know. So, and then Harper's project was, I had seen this, like, that lemons you can light a light bulb using lemons.
Yes.
And so we did lemons versus grapes, like which one has more voltage and can power a light bulb. And then she actually like had the little light bulb that you could turn the switch on and like look through this tube and see the light up. And
do grapes do it?
Yes. And lemons. And actually, her hypothesis was that lemons would have more power than grapes, and it's actually the opposite.
Fascinating.
I know. And then we tried like all the fruits and bananas and celery and everything. And it basically, the wetter it is, then the more electricity and voltage.
I thought it was to do with like acidic nature.
That's
of
part
lemons.
of it too. So you have to have the acidity, I know this because I read it on her poster board. It's like an electrolyte.
Okay.
That is I don't know if it's the thing that like, I don't know, something with zinc and copper and electrolytes makes electricity.
Okay. Love it. That's cool as hell.
But the kid that won like the big prize, he fucking mummified an actual hot dog and did it, and it worked.
Whoa.
I know. Mike was like, I'm impressed.
That rocks.
I know.
Did he like wrap it in bandages and stuff?
Yes. And he had it in his little like tiny sarcophagus for a hot dog.
Amazing.
I know.
That's so good.
I know. So yeah.
Like, we definitely, we have some things like that, but they're not on the same scale. I mean, like, you know, I'd say most of us in the UK would be aware of science fairs through movies and stuff like that, because they feature in movies quite a bit, you know. But I remember doing some bits and pieces like that, but nothing to that scale.
No, like even like our friend who's a professor, like he's always going to these conferences and he's always looking around his poster project. So it's like,
it's a nice idea.
I know.
I mean, like, because I think we've talked about it before. It's, you know, one of my favorite things is, like, I think the imagination of children, I think your imagination gets worn down as you get older. And, like, the capacity for the different directions your imagination can take you in kids is wonderful. So it's a great idea.
Yeah. And also, like, I will say, like, I'm working with the kids on schoolwork more, and it's just, like, doing this project stuff with them was so fucking fun. I love hippos.
It's nice.
Like, so much.
I know. I mean, I feel like we're going to talk about one.
We probably are. It might be
one particular hippo.
It might be on my favorite things of the year list.
It might be on mine too. So we are going to talk about one later.
What's the crack with you?
Won't say who. Okay, so since I saw you last, couple of fun things I have done. You know the way, like, I am chill and relaxed and just, like, you really don't do very much in a single day.
Yeah. Yeah, you're, like, always bored.
Jokes. I don't cram everything into every, you know, single minute of every day that I have. Anyway, so since I saw you last, I have went to see Captain America 4.
How was it?
It was, you know, better than I thought it was going to be. That's going to sound like slight praise. I think that I'd heard it was terrible and I was expecting really bad things from it. But I think Anthony Mackie's a great Cap. I think he's a very different Cap, obviously, to Chris Evans. I also really like, there's something about how he moves with, like, as Falcon. So he's Captain America with wings, but, like, so there's something kinetic about the action scenes with him in it that a lot of other Marvel movies haven't really been able to access. So I really love the action scenes. They shouldn't have given away that Harrison Ford turned into the Red Hulk. If it had been a surprise, it would have been amazing. But he was great in it as well. So, like, it just felt really disjointed. Yeah, it's in every trailer. Okay. It's in the posters. Okay. So, like, sorry if you haven't seen a single poster when you walk into the movie theater. Anyway, sorry.
Such an asshole. Me, Andy, I haven't.
That's true. Oh, what have I done? You're not going to watch Cap 4 anyway, probably, are you?
Oh my god, I'm so excited. All right, I'm excited.
So, you know, better than I thought it was going to be, but damning it with faint praise. I watched Naiad, which I really loved. So Naiad's the one about the lady who tried to swim from Cuba to... Yes, so it's a couple of years old now.
I watched it.
And I loved it. It was great. It was a really nice story. Jodie Foster, Diane Keaton were both awesome in it.
I love their friendship.
Yes. Really kind of nourishing. I think that was what I really kind of resonated with me most from it, but it was lovely. Mm-hmm. The other thing I did was I went to a songwriting workshop.
Did you know?
Right? I did.
Okay.
And I was good fun. Like, it was essentially the first hour was just the people who were in the workshop talking about their history with, you know, writing or songwriting or whatever. But it was really nice. Then we wrote some lyrics and we got feedback from the person who is a singer-songwriter, is in a band. And, like, near the end of the class, she came around. She was like, you know, can I look at what you've written? And I was part of me was like, no, absolutely not. But I was like, well, whatever. Who gives a shit? And I said, look, I've been talking to a friend a lot about autism recently, and that has been on my mind. So I kind of wrote, and I said, but I started writing about, you know, the kind of barriers to communication. That's something I've been thinking about a lot. And I started writing it as it come across as really emo, and she's just like, you know, that's my bread and butter. This is great. And she looked at it, she was like, I love it. I'd like to see more of it. It's really well put together. I see this as a chorus, so you can see it kind of build up to this. But it was just kind of, like, any of those things, poetry, songwriting, I guess, whatever. It's just like, I have torn open my heart. Look at my heart. So it felt so exposing, but it was really lovely to get nice feedback from her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to say, like, I have been lucky in that most of the times I have put my creative stuff out there, it has been well received. So it was a nice thing to do, a nice reminder that I need to be scratching that creative itch more often.
What made you decide to do that?
So it was an offer. I mean, it was free. That's a big.
Yeah.
And it was
Can't
basically
say no to free.
No. It was a series of like these workshops happening, and like all of them sounded interesting to me, and I was like, I just want to go along because, well, I'd been doing the poetry stuff a few years back. I haven't had a chance to do any real writing in a long time now. I mean, over a year. I want to get back into it. I think I need something to light a fire under me. I have a friend who was in a band, and just because, like, the age that we all are, he is in a band with guys who all have kids.
Yeah. So
it's difficult to actually organise rehearsals and things like that. Right. And he just was reaching, we chat a lot, and he's like, I just want to do something with you. And I'm like, okay. And so we're going to try to take it easy. We're taking it slow. We are, so far the plan is, we're called the Christmas Boys, and we're only going to do Christmas parody songs. Nobody can steal that, all right? It's ours. And I see any Christmas boy coming out, I'll hunt you down. My lawyer is a shark. Is that what they say?
No, maybe.
I don't know.
Is that like a term? Like an American term?
Yeah. Is it like, if your lawyer's ferocious, and you should be scared of him? Do you say he's a shark? I don't know. Fine.
I forgot.
What? Okay.
I'm in a glut. I don't know if I'm in a humble brag.
Do it.
I'm halfway through the hardest Lego I've ever done.
Ooh, can you reveal what it is?
It's the Jaws Lego.
Yes!
I got it for Valentine's.
Curse you.
Was it Valentine's Day?
Nice.
Yes, it was. And I was like,
so
I was
cool.
gonna like build it and then just kind of like parade it in front of you.
Sure.
But I've only got the boat built, not the shark.
Okay.
And I fucked up the shark and I gotta undo it and start all over again. So.
And I mean, I've got to say it did look quite complex, but it's legitimately difficult. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's like, I had to do rope and tie, like little knots and shit. Yeah, man. I suppose that makes sense. Yeah, for the set of the scene. So for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, there is a Lego set that is that Andy wanted.
Yeah, I did one. So it really sucks that Beth got it. That's awful.
I know. Because we were at Legoland, and they have this like, you get, if you have a Legoland membership, you get like 20% off of all the Legos.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know that.
I know. And it's like the best Lego store ever. It's huge. Yeah. They have everything. So we're just like wandering around and like picking the thing. Like, if Andy could travel back with a giant Lego, which one would it be?
Yeah, that was the one I said. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But like, so it is like literally the scene where Jaws is attacking them, and like, Quint is getting dragged into the water by Jaws. Yeah. That is the scene that is depicted in Lego. Yeah. It rocks. Yeah. It's so cool.
So it was like, they've got the newspaper, they've got the table where they're all sitting and like singing their Show Me the Way to Go Home. It's got so the fishing chair. It's like the coolest. I'm gonna have to I might actually do like a video, like a cribs for you with the Lego to show you.
Please do. Please do. Okay. For the podcast listeners as well, I want to see that, I think. Love it. I mean, I don't love it obviously, but I'll accept it.
Sorry, you said shark, and I was like, how can I bring this back to me?
Hold on, how do I shoehorn this in? Okay, I mean, let's move on because I don't want to talk about this anymore. So Beth, do you have any occurring for us this week?
Not this week. I do not. Do you, sir?
So I have a bit of feedback on our Demi Moore chat.
Ooh, okay.
So from the person who prompted it,
Okay.
who they said that it was kind of mischievous because they were kind of like they wanted to ask the question, but it was with the idea that they had thought about it themselves, and then they'd looked at her back catalogue and was kind of like, maybe she didn't win any awards because none of the films she were in was that good. I was kind of like, yeah. She was kind of maybe one of the first female actor mega celebrities in that she was, high profile rather than, I don't mean to demean her acting talent, but I think that's not
she
the
was
reason
like
she had as much focus as she did put on
so
her,
much. And also, she, posed nude, pregnant on Vanity Fair or Vogue, whatever.
Yep,
and that
that's one of the things he was talking about. Yeah,
and that was like a huge, huge deal. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just that's how not notorious. But
it's also, and the thing he had mentioned is it's also that thing where once actors you find that push and pull in all sorts of actors, both male and female, in that if they become mega famous, they want that critical acclaim.
Yeah.
If they get the critical acclaim, they also want to be mega famous, and the money, the stuff that comes with that. All too often, it's it's that thing that we always talk about. Whenever you hit the top, the thing that you've been reaching for, it's like, what's next?
Yeah.
It's not satisfaction. A lot of the time, it's not. I've arrived. Everything's good.
Now I can relax.
Yeah. Good God, no. But yeah, so just wanted to give a wee update on that.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, should we get into this week's episode?
Sure.
How to do a burp. Okay, so let's move on to our topic for this week. It is chat about last year. We've, I feel like I need time, a wee bit of distance away from things to really kind of digest it properly. So we're going to do a review of the year 2024 called 2024. What was it good for? Good God.
How did you how did you go back?
I did do some searches just because I sometimes need a refresher. But what was interesting was that and what I was curious about from your point of view was the lens that you look through a year at. So I was looking at it in terms of entertainment a lot.
Yeah.
I then did I'll think about, I did have a sort of, I really thought about last year and what I was doing last year, and thought about the good and the bad of it, and what has been useful for me going into this year. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
I had a similar, so I went back through photos just to jog my memory of right, that happened and that happened. So I'm sure there's stuff in there that
it's a good idea
that will pop up that wasn't in photos where I'm oh, that, or that realization or whatever. But it was bittersweet.
Yeah.
That happened, but then this other thing happened. So that happening kind of was not what was in the photos was not how it ended up 6 months later, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was a little some of that, which I didn't expect.
What I did was as well world events that were slightly more positive, because I feel there's been a lot of negative. The 2020s have just been kind of a shit show in a lot of ways. So it was good to kind of go, okay, well, what good things are happening, showing that society isn't completely hasn't completely malfunctioned as yet. So yeah. Do you want to lead off? Do you have anything you want to lead off with, or?
I just think I'm still coming out of my health issue.
Yeah.
And I'm now looking at so I made a list of just this happened and this happened. And I'm no wonder. I was really busy.
Yeah.
I did a lot of things. I traveled all over the world.
True.
I think I did a lot.
You sure did.
I did a lot more than I realized, and I'm grateful that I was able to do all those things. And a lot of it is also stuff that maybe doesn't have to do with me, but like I was, on the periphery of something.
Yeah.
And something happening for somebody else or other people doing things like also makes me happy. So a little bit of that, but yeah, I think it was a really good year.
I think in terms of recent years, yeah, it really was actually, yeah. It's certainly personally,
Yeah.
one of the better ones in quite a while,
Yeah.
and also, um, learning lessons. Like I think I need to be taught the same lesson again and again and again a lot of the time, but sometimes that's just a process, and I think that was some good stuff for me personally in that regard as well, Yeah. So, do you want to? So, okay, you know what I'm going to start off with, right? Is because probably my favorite thing last year, my favorite piece of entertainment, and I'm going to use it to bug Beth, was Shogun. Beth, what's your Shogun status currently?
I still haven't watched it.
Beth!
Oh, well, no, that's not true. I tried, and I just saw, because the SAG Awards were last night, and it won, like,
Yes.
a ton of categories, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, God. I got it. I know. You asked so little.
I mean, like...
you asked so little.
I know, it's fine. Like, I mean, it is a 10 episode. It's 10 episodes, but like I
You know me.
I
I
really
binge shit all the time. Where's my pen? I'm
Yeah,
write
it's
this
true.
down for myself.
Yeah, and like I think like, and I say give it a few episodes, but like once it grabs you, I think it's so good. Like I don't think I was looking through and I was thinking about entertainment that I enjoyed in like all sort of fields, and I was like, this is absolutely my number one thing of the year. And I remember seeing it at the start of last year, and I was thinking, this is going to be hard to beat. It just felt like so resonant for me. I mean, like I just loved it, and I just think its themes were great, and I think so many of the characters were great, and like my friend and I were like sending like photos of some of the guys in it, like which is a serious show about death and like both like meaning and culture in Japan and things like that and translation, and we were like sending pictures of people in the show going, and we were like, oh, they're my guys, are there. Just thinking about my guys. So yeah, it rules.
Yeah, I would say like my favorite piece of entertainment was The Boys.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
The other ones as well that I think need a mention is I really love Challengers. I really like The Substance. They were all the ones that really kind of worked for me over the past year. But like I looked just at a wide swath of stuff, and I was like, there wasn't a lot of stuff I enjoyed, but not a lot of stuff that really kind of like lit me up in that way. I did really enjoy. There was a video game called Balatro that came out last year, which is so there is a type of game called roguelikes that are essentially, you understand do you know what a roguelike is? Okay, so it's basically you can play them again and again, and they kind of change every time. Okay. So it's sort of a loop, but like the game changes quite significantly between each loop. And it was a poker based one, and it was just such a beautiful wee piece of design, so simple, and is very compulsive, and feels like one of these things that once it arrives, it was undeniable. How did nobody do this before, sort of thing.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Yeah, I finally got around to watching Conclave. Fascinating.
What'd you think?
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
So did I, but I really didn't understand the ending, and not the how do I talk about this in vagaries? There is like a fairly explosive end in that something comes to light. And that I was like, okay, I was kind of like, it kind of made sense within the context of the film, but then it kind of ends with him sitting on a bed. I won't talk about how he's dressed, and I was just kind of like, I don't know what this means fully. And so with that kind of, I wasn't sure. I walked out of it not fully understanding what the message was, but I really enjoyed the setting, the intrigue. All the all the actors were fantastic.
The acting was fantastic. I am anything that has to do with the Vatican and Vatican
Yeah.
City and like what happens behind the walls is fascinating. So just like
Yeah.
seeing what, because you know, I'm a, I'm a, I know I you know I didn't I'm not Christian. I didn't go to Catholic school, so I have no idea what all this stuff is and like the rituals
Yeah.
behind it. But I do every time there's a pope being elected. You know, I'm like, was there white smoke today? And like even knowing how they make the smoke and like how they color the smoke and
Yeah.
like, what they do with the votes. It's like I don't even know if all that's true, but just watching the process. For me, I didn't even care about the story. I just wanted to see them go through the process.
Yeah.
That's what it was. So I was like, are they drinking alcohol? Are they allowed to drink alcohol? Like, you know, what are the politics behind all of this? And like just the fact that like they have to, you know, put these like lead doors down because people are using like some laser to see like
Yes.
you can actually see the vocal frequency and then be able to see the conversations that are happening. I all of this is just like news to me, and I love learning about like how things work.
Yeah.
And I think that was what was so great about it.
I hear you, and I think I really did love that. Like, and you know, it's as a window into, you know, that process and what that process might be like. Definitely heightened.
Yeah.
For dramatic purposes.
And like
but
any movie where they're just like turtles wandering around makes me happy.
That's true. I forgot about the turtles. I also like that all the kind of different Catholic guys with all their different outfits, right? You know, from different like parts of the Catholic Church.
Yeah. And like, or
right?
I'm giving this talk. Okay, now I'm talking over here in a different outfit. It's just like
yeah. Oh, so good. So yeah, definitely. I did enjoy it, and I was really glad I went to see it. Like, the one that I would really I was gutted I missed is Anora. I
watched it this weekend.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really want to see it, and I'm gutted I missed it because I didn't have a big run in the cinema over here, and I was hoping that it might get. Sometimes they do a second run, the lead up to the Oscars, in some of our art house theaters. So like, I'm hoping that they do.
Oh, see, I might, because we watched it online. I don't know if it was through Amazon. Can you rent movies on Amazon?
I believe so. Yes, you can. I am debating. I just really like seeing movies in the theaters. I mean, I like seeing it doing it anyway, but also I just find that like my attention span is for shit in the house these days, so I really struggle to sit and watch a movie at home, which is why I like to go and see as much as possible in the movies. But I'm really considering making more of an effort and signing up for Mubi. You know, the movie street, because it gets all that stuff. It gets all the stuff I want to see. Like, it has, like, Luca did 2 movies last year. He did Challengers and he did one called Queer, which I really wanted to see. I've heard Queer's fantastic.
Yeah, I've heard. Well, it's up for awards, but it hasn't won anything.
Okay.
Because people are terrible.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I've heard it was very good. So Nora was like, I made Mike watch it with me, and he doesn't like anything ever. He likes like UHF, and that's it, and Aliens. But he was like, it. Like, you feel like it's going one direction, and then all of a sudden it goes a different direction. He was like,
I've heard that.
He was like, yeah, I was starting to be like, what the fuck? Like, come on. But then it takes off, and then you're just like trying to keep up with it. And the acting's really good. She's really good.
Yeah, I hear she is good in it. I'm trying to think. I feel like I saw her in something else, but yeah, I will. It's definitely on the list. Yeah, love it. Okay. So. And what are your other? So I think other further thoughts on 2024, other areas.
I mean, travel, obviously.
Sure.
So like, I wrote down like we went to Maria twice because we were in Maria in January, and then we went again in the summer. I went and saw you. I went and saw you. I went to London.
Yeah, shit, you did lots of travel.
I went to San Francisco. I went to New York City.
Yeah.
You came here.
Yeah.
We went down to Mexico.
Yeah.
So I did a lot. It's like...
Yeah.
I feel like I have a distorted view of myself and my life and like what I do every day. When I make a list like this, I'm like, girl, you're fine. Like, you're
It's true.
We did a lot. And so, like, I think that's probably, like, something that I'm really glad that I was able to do and did. Um, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite things that I learned, honestly, was about Finn McCool, the Irish giant, and the Causeway. And that book that I bought when we went up there, I read it to the kids all the time, and I do the Irish accent and I do the Scottish accent for the kids.
Oh wow!
I'm like,
okay.
Do you want me to do it the accent? They're like, yeah. And I do a terrible job, but just learning, about your culture more and being able to see the life that you live, and when you talk about the choir, I have a reference point for that, and
yeah, it's true.
Your house, and
I am just so I want to. Okay. So I was pretty certain it was him. I just wanted to check before I embarrassed myself and said the wrong thing. But the thing I went to with my folks at Christmas, I think I told you we went to this light show thing, and it was about Irish mythology. So essentially there is a thing about the salmon of knowledge. Do you know about this?
The salmon of knowledge?
Yes.
No.
So it was the salmon. I'm gonna make a hash of this, but I'll just give you the outlines. Basically, this salmon was found, and
do you have salmon?
They were I believe so, in some of our rivers and stuff like that. I'm pretty certain we do, yeah. And this salmon was said to have all the knowledge of everything, and I can't remember who the guy was. Guy essentially found it, gave it to Finn McCool, and was like, right, you need to, if you can cook it, and we'll prepare it, and we'll just have it for whoever is the right person that needs to eat it. And as Finn was cooking it, he touched it to see how well it was cooking, burnt his thumb, and went and licked his thumb, and immediately gained all of the knowledge of the fish. So yeah.
So there's more Finn McCool?
Yeah, there's a lot more Finn McCool, yeah. All right. So just in case you want to delve into that a bit more.
I had no idea.
Yeah, so yeah, exciting, strap in. I actually have I'm sure I'm going to get it in the neck about all my lack of Irish folklore knowledge, but I have an Irish folklore book here that I think I'm going to try to read next. I'm going to take slight tangent. I'm very nearly finished Prayer for Omini.
Isn't it good?
It is very good. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I have to say. So I think I'm going to try to read that book next, but I won't drill us for too long. So yeah. Anyway, so how do we get talking about Finn McCool? Where are we at?
Travel.
Travel.
Also,
yes.
Yeah, I did realize that Christmas time is just not. I don't want to be in this country during Christmas.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't have a lovely Christmas, but it's just we basically spent the same amount of money that we would have if we'd gone abroad. And it's just, it's weird. I've been watching this show on Bravo. I'm embarrassed. Called Southern Charm. And it's about these upper crust people that live in Charleston.
Okay.
Which is Charlestown. And it's all their relatives were either presidents or plantation owners and slave traders, and so there's a lot of it's weird. The culture is weird. They've got all these weird traditions. Oh crap! What's my point? Basically, yeah. So then I was this is all in South Carolina. I used to live in North Carolina, and I was thinking I'm jealous, right? They're in low country, which means they're really it's the floodplains. Their houses are built on the floodplains. They're crabbing right outside their houses. And when I lived in North Carolina, that's what I had. It was we were on the Sound. We had a dock. It would flood under the house all the time. I remember my parents having to drive the car up the road so that it wouldn't get flushed out with seawater.
Wow.
And I was I wish I could give my kids that experience. Yeah. And then I don't know, Mike and I were talking the other day about Maria or something in North Carolina, and I was wait a minute, Like, because I have just this, like, idea of, like, a dock that we can just, like, go and, like, feed the fish or, like, jump off. And I'm like, Beth Merton, you fucking idiot. You are doing this. Like, you rent a house in this place. You go every year. You know, like, you have a dock. You go out there. You feed the fish. You actually are doing what you want. It's just not the same place. And that's okay.
It's true.
So
absolutely.
I don't need a beach house in North Carolina, even though I'm looking. I can't afford it. But, like, really,
just
like...
a kiss.
I know. But it's, like, with... I'm... Like, I think I'm living the life I want to live, right?
Yeah.
And part of that includes traveling to the places that I want to go.
Yes.
And I'm doing
and that's
and
important.
I'm doing it.
You are.
Yeah.
And that's an important revelation, I think, as well. I think it's interesting, you know, because, like, it probably ties into this. I mean, I think it has always been true to me, and I have always kind of known this, but I feel like, you know, travel does such wonders for my, like, mental health. Like,
Same.
It really does. It just, like, makes me grateful for what I have, makes me grateful that I can travel. It, like, fills me up just seeing different parts of the world, seeing people from different parts of the world, interacting with people from all over, you know. It's just, it feeds me, you know. So, like, you know, that, I mean, broadly, it was obviously you came over to see me here, so we did a bit of traveling here. I did a bit of traveling within Ireland, but going to see you guys, spend some time in Mexico was my big trip, and I'm like, yeah, I need to, like, find a way to make this, you know, a much bigger chunk of my life if I can, you know.
Yeah.
So,
are you going to plan a trip for this year?
Yeah, I'm almost certainly going to go to Canada. It's not definite, but my friend has moved to Calgary, and I plan to go and see her, is what I'm thinking.
Awesome.
So,
I'm not Googling Canada map right now at all.
I know. I am probably going to go to Toronto as well, I think.
Mm-hmm. I know where that is.
Yeah, that is. They're on opposite sides of the bloody country, unfortunately. But I have a handful of friends there. So I think, you know, that's what I'm thinking. Is spend a bit of time there, and then head over to Calgary for a bit as well, and, like, maybe drive through the Rockies and stuff.
I highly recommend that. We did that as kids.
Yes. I think it'll be lovely. I think it's exactly the sort of shit I want to do. And I think, like, my friend is happy that she's went over there, but she's also struggling with the reality of, A, it's very cold, a new job at a new place, etc., you know, so yeah. So I'm going to see how it goes. But that's the plan anyway.
Yeah. Are you going to play hockey?
You know, I can't even skate. It's something that I've been talking about trying to relearn recently. Not relearn, learn. Like, I had no sense of balance as a kid, but I think with yoga and stuff, I now do a little bit. So I'd like to maybe give it a go again, you know. I like the idea of it.
I wish I was shorter, so, like, I wouldn't have as far to fall. And, like, we have rollerblades, which are... It's not the same. It's very different.
Yes.
And, like, falling on ice is different.
Like, there is literally... I mean... that's not strictly true, but there is, in terms of ice rinks that are accessible to the public, there's one in Northern Ireland, so, like,
oh, really?
it's just not really a thing here.
Yeah.
No.
I used to go ice skating where Tanya Harding would practice.
Whoa.
I know. Isn't that awesome?
That was in North Carolina?
No, this was when we moved to Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know she... Okay.
Oh, okay. So, actually, I can't remember if I told you this or not. So, Mike and I used to go... because his old office was by this restaurant called the Dockside, which is like right on the river in Portland, where all the dock workers would go and, like, have, like, you know, beers after they got off the night shift, and you're sitting there, like, eating breakfast with them, and it's like it's like all they refuse to sell. It's now, like, condo land, and the Dockside is, like, this little, like, shitty bar, like, on this little tiny corner. But that's where Tanya Harding wrote down her plan to...
Whoa.
Like, wrote it down on the napkins or whatever, and then threw it in the dumpster of the Dockside. Sorry, it's Dark Side. We're doing a lot of Star Wars right now. And the police found it. And so, like, they have all the, like, news clippings on the walls, and it's, like, a whole thing. So, yeah. And I've met her at an autograph signing. I don't know where I'm going on this tangent. This was not last year. But yeah, we were at some autograph convention and she was there signing autographs. And she walked right by me and she was like, "Where the fuck is Larry?" And I was like, "Who's Larry?"
So mysterious.
I know.
Amazing.
I know you're jealous. That's my Tanya Harding
I'm deeply
story.
jealous. I mean, I have Tommy Wiseau, you have Tanya Harding. Okay. So, like, you know, I think we've been circling it. We need to, like, really hit upon the most interesting, the biggest thing to happen last year, which was the arrival of Mudang onto the scene.
Yes, the birth of Mudang.
A legend.
A legend, the myth, the reality.
Yeah, the hippo, the myth, the legend.
So if anyone doesn't know about Mudang, just go Google Angry Mudang videos.
Yeah.
And it's this little, it's like, and I was like, okay, is there something special about this baby pygmy hippo? Because other pygmy hippos have been born. There's Haggis, which is another one. There was one that was born, her name's Fiona? I can't remember. That was born in the States, I think. So, like, other places are catching on that pygmy hippos are, like, the thing.
Yeah.
Because Mudang has become so famous. And really, I think Mudang is just the most pissed off baby hippo. The other ones don't have the same personality.
Furious. I was going to say his name is incredible. And it just occurred to me as we were talking there, is like, I haven't researched what his name means. Do you know what his name means?
It means, like, bouncing pork.
Yeah, bouncy pork, yeah. That's even better.
And it's true.
Because, like, I've got to say, like, you know, yes, he rules. He is angry. I love his vibe. You know, he's furious at the world. Getting, you know, hose water directly
What do you mean you want to spray water on me that I need? Yeah. What do you mean you want to feed me? Yeah.
You know, I like his vibes, but I also feel like just Mudang generally is such a fun thing to say.
It really is.
You know, and just a great name. So yeah, I mean, he was bound for glory, I think. You know.
And I guess, like, I know so little about Thailand politics. I guess that they were having, like, a hard time politically, and things were difficult. Oh, yeah. So, like, the birth of this funny thing, like, I think it caught on there because, you know, they needed something funny to laugh at.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of exploded because of TikTok, so.
Great. Yeah, absolutely great.
Like, there's one video where, like, the trainer's trying to pick up Mudang and put her in the little water container, and she's, like, fighting him, and, like her fat rolls in her stomach, like, she's just, like, fucking pissed off and is flailing. I'm not gonna do it. And then, like, gets in there and, like, oh yeah, this is nice, and sits down.
I guess, like, I'm sure they're probably Mudang's probably trainers or handlers may have a different relationship with Mudang.
Yeah. Well, and, like,
but
so I was watching an interview because she's so famous. I mean, she's so famous. She has her own blush collection.
No way.
Yes. How to, like, do your bronzer and blush, like, to make yourself look like, you know, the palette of Mudang. Hats. Andy sent me a stuffy that Charlie took. He was just like, "That's mine. Like, this is mine."
Your T-shirt with Jesus cradling Mudang.
Is that from you?
No, that was from Becca.
Okay, yeah. So I have, one where Jesus is cradling baby Mudang, and another one of Mudang in space, just, like, kind of being angry in different ways in space. That one I can wear outside.
Yeah.
So.
You can wear Mudang baby Jesus. No, actually, maybe you can't wear Mudang baby Jesus outside. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, could I in Ireland? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you could much more easily over here.
Yeah, I could not where I live here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Most people are like, "Oh, hi, my name is Bob." Yeah. They're like, "Oh, great, nice to meet you. Where do you go to church?" And I'm like,
I mean, people wear Cradle of Filth T-shirts here.
Okay.
So yeah, you forget about that.
That's true.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, he is a hero, or her. She is a hero. Sorry, I should say. Apologies.
It's okay. It doesn't really matter
for misgendering you. So the other thing I was going to chat about, I got so much of my stuff through a lens of pop culture, but
I love it.
I think that, like, 2024 2024 is the year that I really properly reevaluated pop music, because I have always loved some pop songs, but I have always kind of like marginalized them a bit. But I was fully on board for the, Charlie XCX's Brat Summer, Chapel Roan.
You were like, I gotta say, I'm usually hip to things. You were like super hip.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't even...
I was on it.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
So.
And it's great, and it's really made me also listen to other older pop acts and kind of listen to stuff again, and reevaluate other people who I would really not have even given the time to. Like, you know me, I like all sorts of music, I think, but it was an area that I had not really looked at properly, and it's been exciting just to kind of look at it through a much more excited lens, and find a load of music that I'm just like, this rocks.
You have a really, the stuff you were playing in the car, like...
Oh, yeah.
I knew, 10% of those songs.
Yeah.
And I think I have a wide, I have a pretty...
You do?
But I guess,
White.
I'm also American, and that's part of the problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think there's a lot of people in the UK who, passively listen to music as well. You do actually... You're curious about music and you're interested in hearing new stuff, but I think a lot of people aren't really. They want to hear stuff. What's interesting to me is that, I've talked about it before, I love Radio 6, and some of the acts, it's almost like a feeder station, I find, in some ways, because, sometimes acts that they have been playing for, maybe a year or so.
What's Radio 6?
So it's, so BBC Radio has at least 6 radio stations. In fact, it has many more. And... they all kind of... So one is very pop focused. One is for an older audience. Radio 2. 3... Is that classical? I can't remember. We do have a whole classical one. Might be. I can't remember. 4 is talk radio, essentially. And it's dramas.
Yeah, we get talk radio. We get the BBC talk.
It's yes. So it's probably a lot of stuff from Radio 4 on there. 5 is sports radio. And 6 is music. And it's a radio station where there is a certain amount of direction from the station, but by and large the DJs can play whatever the hell they want, and it's really great because they just have a load of new stuff, and you have whole shows that are dedicated to introducing you to exciting, very new artists who have arrived in the scene and things like that. So yeah, I love it. It's always I'm not a car guy, right? And basically my one thing when I was buying a car was, does it have Radio 6 in it? Does it have digital radio? And can I listen to my station that I need to hear? And people are like, oh, you can just listen to it on your phone. It's no. Uh-huh. I need to turn on the ignition and I need to hear Radio 6. Yeah. That's what I need to happen, okay? And they're like, but does it have a spare tire? Shut up. Shh.
You're no. Can I sit in it and listen to my radio?
Yeah, can I sit in it? Can I listen to my station? Can I hear my songs? That's all that matters, all right? So that was a big deal for me last year, and I have my... Did I tell you I have my a ticket to see Charlie XCX this year? And I'm going by my... I don't have any... Nobody will go with me because they're like, oh, I'm too old to go to Charlie XCX. So I'm excited for that. I'm hopefully going to find some people to go with because it is... I don't think I really care, but it's the first kind of concert I'll probably be going to where I'll be hyper aware that I'm probably 20 years older than...
You might be surprised.
The vast majority of the crowd. Yeah, you could be right. Yeah, that's true. So yeah. I've got a few other bits and pieces. Do you have any other
the thing
stuff
that stood out was we actually had quite a few people come and visit, which was part of the goal of moving here was people will come, we have a pool, it's sunny, it's a destination place. People will come, and they did. My mom came, you came, we had a bunch of friends come and visit. And also, I guess just I have really good friends, and I'm really grateful for that.
Yep.
And I'm grateful that I have good friends that live everywhere, and I'm able to go and visit and see, and they're able to come and visit and see, and just the ones that hold on are the ones that I want to hold on.
Yeah.
You know? And I've got really incredible people in my life, and I'm just like so grateful.
That's
Obviously,
so nice. Yeah.
I am excluding you from this conversation.
Sure. 100%.
Everybody else but you.
I mean, that makes what I'm about to say much easier then, because I was going to say, nice for you, because all my friends are jerks and assholes. I want to be rid of every one of them. I'm joking, guys. I love you. Yeah, I totally hear you. Like, and it is such a treat, like, having that. It really is, and like, it's something I think could be quite easy to take for granted, but like, it is rare, especially like, you know, we are in our 40s, or but like,
I don't care,
and it's hard.
I'm proud.
It's hard
45,
to.
I'm proud.
Yeah.
I think I'm 45, maybe
46
46 or 44. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. I have a birthday coming up, so I was like, "What are you going to be?" And I'm like, "Huh, I think 46."
When's
I
your
can't
birthday?
remember. Yeah.
When's your birthday?
26th of May.
It was the 27th.
No, it's still a while away.
Okay.
What was I saying? Oh no! Oh yeah, so sort of age. But like, I find so many people, and I've met in my life, who are like of at the same sort of age that we are, who have hardly any friends, or friends have fallen away, or all those sorts of things. And like, we do a really good job, I think, of, you know, keeping those connections, especially the ones that are important to us, live, and making time for them. You know, which is great, I think. Okay, so a few other quick ones, and these were just ones that, looking back, kind of like remind me why it's good to be alive, and also gives me a little bit of hope about our kind of nightmare system that we all live with. Number one was the solar eclipse last year. It was cool. I didn't experience it directly, but I always love a solar eclipse. It kind of reminds you of our sort of significance and insignificance. I totally forgot
about that, and I totally experienced it.
Yes, you did experience it. Yeah, I wish I had. I think they're always cool, and they always I find them quite humbling whenever they happen. And I think it's quite a wonderful thing that the world, maybe not the world, but like a lot of people in the world can share. I also love the fact that a South Korean president was impeached. Now it's happening now. He is on trial currently, and it's just lovely to see that the checks and balances can work. Not everywhere, but they work in some places. So like, not all hope is lost.
Thank you. I needed to hear that.
Yeah. We could be talking about any country now, right?
Yeah.
Or not? Yeah.
I think for me, getting rid of the Barbie dream house and donating it to another child freed up like 6 feet of space.
Yeah.
I was really, really glad that happened.
Yeah.
So that thing is fucking huge.
It was huge. Yeah.
So.
That's a nice one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. I love it. Perfect. Was that your old Barbie dream house?
No. I have a dollhouse that.
Okay.
Yeah, that my dad.
That was it. I think.
Yeah.
I was conflating with something. Yeah. It's perfect thing to get rid of. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think that, like, okay, so I do have a few personal things. Mm-hmm. It's funny that I squirrel these away at the end rather than
talking about them. You're like, and then this, then now we're out of time.
Let's talk about this content up front, and now talk about my personal shit. So like, it seems like a perennial lesson to me of taking on too much stuff.
Yeah.
And then like overwhelming myself. I don't know that I have. I think I see it clearly now, in a way that I haven't really before. Last year was a really big lesson to me in that. I think I'm already taking steps to try to step back from things this year. I think it's important for me to do. Let's see how successful I am with it, but I think last year was very instructive in that regard.
Yeah. I mean, it's like there's a fine balance between being busy and being busy enough that you're not like going to like dark places in your brain, and like being so busy you don't have a life.
This is it. Yeah. I find that a constant struggle to find that balance, but it's something I'm thinking about a lot more now, and I'm making a real effort to find some balance there. So let's see how I get on.
Hold you accountable.
Yeah, please do.
I will. You know I will.
I know you will. I love it. And also the other thing I was going to say was, and certainly there's been some false starts, and it's something we've talked about in this podcast in terms of false starts. I finally figured out how to date kind of again, which is nice. It's taken a while. It's taken years. So yeah, it was good, and so that's been good. That's been a good development, and yeah, I'm very happy with how that's going so far.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. I mean, it's, it's not easy, and you've done a lot of work on yourself to get to the point to be, open.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, those are the two things I thought last year that I felt fairly major changes in myself,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me, like, I'm more capable than I think I am.
Absolutely.
And I just need lots of naps, and that's okay.
Yes. I mean, hey, if we ever get a bandy sort of what's the word? A crest.
Uh-huh.
That's the motto that should go along the bottom. Yeah. That's just a picture of Beth and I looking sleepy, and it says we need lots of naps beneath it. If anyone wants to design that crest, send it in to us, please do.
I love it.
All right, I think that's good. Do you have anything else, or should we move on?
You know what? I think I really liked this.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I never think back in February and look back at the year. Like, if you do it too soon, you only see the bad. And like, this was really great. And I'm like, last year was really awesome. And I don't know if I would have said that a month ago.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's because, especially I think coming into January, and like, after this conversation, we've talked about this, like, January's brutal. Like, it's always hard. It's always like, gee, whoa. So it's hard to really think about things rationally, I think, so it's nice to have a bit of space from it. So yeah, it's been lovely. Okay. In that case, time to move on to our final wee section, folks, which is what's been bringing you joy this week, Beth.
So Harper signed up for the talent show.
Nice.
So she's got 2.5 minutes to like do a thing, and she there's this. Do you ever see Pitch Perfect?
Yes.
Okay, so Anna Kendrick does this thing with this cup.
Yeah.
So Harper's doing this cup dance thing.
Okay.
For the talent show, and she had to audition for it last week, and I totally forgot. Like, I'm just a space cadet these days, but she was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go on stage and I'm gonna do it," and they put the song on, and she did it.
Good for
so
her.
Well, and like I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's one cup, but like you're using it to like bounce off your hand, and you're making percussion out of like a solo cup, basically.
Yes.
And it's so just like hypnotic to watch. And like her friend was like dancing next to her, but like all anybody could do was just like watch Harper doing this percussion cup thing, and I was just so proud of her. Charlie's like, I don't want to do anything on stage, like no way in hell kind of thing. But she was like, I want to do, her friend's mom is like organizing it. And so I think there was a little pressure there, but it was good. It's good. So she's like on stage doing this thing, taking ownership, like practicing.
That rocks.
And I like didn't even know. It's like these kids, they surprised me. I didn't even know she was practicing. I'm like, when have you been practicing? She's like, at school and like in my room and, at bed before. Like, I'm just like doing it. I'm like, okay. So it was just, it's fun to be like surprisingly, impressed with the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. So, that's a great one.
I'm like, you didn't wipe your butt. Like,
yeah, I know.
And then they let, do amazing things. So I don't know.
And they're like doing this cup thing, and you're like, shit, can I do that cup thing?
There's no way.
Yeah. That rocks.
How
I love
about
it.
you?
So I'm thrilled that The White Lotus is back.
I just really rewatched season 2.
Oh, season 2's great. I mean, like, I love that. I love that show so much, and I kind of love. I mean, like, I love the first season so much, and then I just like kind of like the template of that show, which was, here are all these mostly horrible people, and now let's watch their lives kind of unravel, or their kind of like, their realities kind of fall apart in interesting ways because they tend to all be absolute ghouls, you know. So I'm excited to see. I love an anthology show, which I guess this kind of is, where every sort of season's kind of different when they're done well, but like to a theme.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this is just I'm so happy it's back. It's lovely to be back in that sort of,
like rewatching season 2, I was just like, yeah, the symbolism, the cinematography, the location. Yes. I'm just like, this is so well done. And so I'm like, okay. And Mike was like, this is so boring. And I'm like, God.
Yeah. I know people who are like, why do you watch that? Would you not? Is it not like watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians? And I'm like, no.
It's
not even a little bit.
It's just like, it goes so much deeper than we probably even know. So yes. I did a little research. I was like, okay, like, where did he come? Like, Mike White, you know, where did he come up with this idea? It was when he was on Survivor.
Oh, really?
Yes. And he was like, you know, with a bunch of people, and they're all kind of in a different place, and they're trying to figure out how to do stuff and work together, and their personalities are all involved. And he just started like thinking about how he could put like all of them in a hotel and what would happen, kind of thing. And then this is the idea for the White Lotus.
Incredible. I mean, it is great. What a result! Like, as I say, it is one of my favorite. I mean, with, you know, something else that kind of did a good job with this was Succession, I think, and it's lovely to have something else like that. You know, the criticism I've heard of shows like this from friends are that they don't want to watch awful people, and I kind of get it.
It's my jam. That's all I love is to watch awful people.
Because, like, well, to me, I find it so valuable and useful to me to see that these people who are successful, who are just fucking miserable. It's like, okay, it's good. I'm happy that these motherfuckers who are in like the top rung of the ladder are just as miserable as everybody else.
Yeah, well, and it's like the common thread, which is always like, no one knows anything, we don't know what we're doing, and it's like that reinforces that belief. And, you know, even though it's made up, it's like a lot of these characters are not. They come from somewhere.
Absolutely.
You know?
No.
So.
But yeah, it's great. Very good. So yeah. Okay.
Artichoke.
I think. Indeed. So you quite alright. So I think we are good, and we will look to wrap up the episode. Beth, can you tell everybody where they can find us?
You can find us at bendypodcast.com. I highly recommend just like quickly going through your photos from last year and just reminding yourself like how awesome you are.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and the good aspects that, you know, came from last year. Because this has been very, very nice.
Yeah. Well,
Google Film
great way to end things off. Yes.
Make us a crest.
Always, yes, make us a crest. So 3 things, okay? Put them on your list. All right, love it. Okay, folks. In that case, as always, we'd like to remind you to stay nice. What a fitting tribute to 2024. All right, we love you. Bye.